that was very meditative, and I went quite quickly into that state. And I've had this happen quite a few times, but I was doing a workshop on Saturday, and it was really extreme on Saturday. But I've got this, I don't actually move my head myself, but it just moves by itself, like I've got someone doing it for me and so on. Do you have any idea what that is? Or...
Yes. Yes. So, look, and this was one of the things that would make so much sense what was coming up next. I've got a prompt on my side of all the things that they've told me and words and stuff, and I've wrote bits and pieces down. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So okay, thank you. This just said thank you. When you surrender, when you allow yourself to fully engage with this other side, as in, let's say, sort of a spiritual awakening, alignment, and this awareness, and really allowing yourself to be in the flow of it, surrendering to the fact of the human mind, the chitter chatter of saying, does this really exist? Am I really just here, or is there another dimension? What do I believe in? And is there really a higher consciousness? And I had someone even today sort of saying to me they felt they were going crazy because since they started meditating, they sort of feel that I really believe that I have a third eye now. And I said, well, you do. So you can see things so much clearer now. And when we say that, it's not that they're physically going to have an eye on the forehead. It's literally that they start to see what's coming, being aware of awareness around them and seeing signs so much clearly now, seeing the guidance that's brought in for them. So it's when we start allowing ourselves to surrender as the human being, and that's one of the biggest things, is learning to surrender, because it's about that trust, the trust in the divine. When you really allow yourself to trust in divine, you start getting all these directions put in front of you. You start seeing more signs. You start listening to, people might be speaking behind you, or somewhere on the bus, or I don't know, down the road, or you've passed them in a shop and they're saying something, and it's very like, wow, I was just thinking that, or I needed to hear the answer to that. You start becoming more of those signs. And when you really start allowing yourself to really surrender, which can be the hardest thing. It's like that being chucked into a crowd and you sort of surf the crowd on your back. That's what like the divine is. It's sort of like handing it all over. Your guides step forward. Your guides, your assistants, and your guides can be many. Guides can be your angels. They can be your loved ones that's passed over on the other side. They can be the guides that were signed up to you when, before you even came here to exist on this physical plane. Your guides are there. Your higher self is working with your team of guides to help direct you. And when you go into that meditative state, the physical side of it, and I've had this myself, where literally I've had times where, I've done meditation and then suddenly I've been sort of thrown back into my chair. Now, it's nothing, I don't mean in a nasty way, but it's like sit back and you're like, oh, okay, but you've been pushed back. Or there's been times I've done a reading for an individual and I'm being pushed forward, where I have a loved one on the other side saying, I'm here. You become more in tune with the other energies around you. So, you can go into meditation and then suddenly feel that, your body's being moved, or your neck's moving, or the flow of your body, and the energy levels around you, like with your auric field around you, is very much as the sound and frequency waves around your body. So when you really surrender, when you really let go to, going deep into meditation, meditation could be just literally just sitting there being still and, just allowing yourself a moment in time. Your body can be just taken. It's just like, as if you're following the flow. Everything's energy. Everything's got an energy frequency around you. So when you allow your body just to be within the meditation and you totally surrender, it's not thinking, I must sit upright. I must consciously be aware of my back. I must consciously be aware of how I'm holding my neck. I must be consciously aware of my breath. It's like you totally surrender. And when you allow yourself to surrender, you're naturally just, it's like a breath of, they just said, a breath of like the fresh air, the wind, that you allow yourself to flow. So by being sort of instructed or guided or some sort of support, it's your guides that are supporting you. And when I first started doing this, years ago now, it felt almost sometimes I had someone touching the skin on my face and my cheekbone, or touching my head to say I'm here, but it's literally just being guided. And we tend to see guides, or sometimes, I mean, I just said, you know, a little while ago about having to a Buddhist monk and stuff. Sometimes they present themselves as an image, and sometimes I just know from the personality, or I just know from the energy stream around that individual and how it moves me. So it sounds to me that they're helping to move you, to free up parts of you, to have that frequency in your auric field around you, like your bubble of energy around you. And that's why it's so important that, you know, when we go out and about, or when we're meeting individuals that we may not know, or, you know, or there's complete strangers around us, that we are, I just love that, caretaker. We are a caretaker to our energy. We become a caretaker to our energy around our bodies, to check in with how we feel, to check in, to sort of, you know, sometimes if you're walking and if you're checking in with your energy, sometimes you can feel if someone's walking too close behind you. It means you're aware of them. You've become aware of so much of your own energy stream that you're aware then that someone is walking behind you. It's when the worry, not the worry, I wouldn't say worry, but I suppose if you're not aware of your own energy stream and then someone does come up behind you, there is then a little bit of a, well, maybe you could have picked that up earlier. But when you become aware of your auric field around you, and by tuning in more, opening and closing your chakras, this is how I do it, opening and closing chakras, and others who, you know, do the spiritual practice, they have their own means and methods. But for me, it's like having, you know, a close sign on the shop of the front door. You're like, okay, I'm closed now, and close all my chakras down, I'm not working, you know. But it's really being aware of your own energy stream. So for you to say that and to share it, thank you, because it is about being moved about by, you know, your guides around you and your energy stream that's around your body, that's you're in tuned with. So that's a good sign. It's showing that you have this awareness of your alignment that's going on in your body. That's brilliant. Love that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
I hope that explains.
Yeah, completely.
Good.
I mean, I kind of knew that on one level, but it's really lovely to hear it reflected back from you.
So it's confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a beautiful feeling. It does feel like you're floating.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, I feel so important. I find it so important that to teach, to make people aware of, you know, you've got your guides there who check in with you, to help you, to assist you, to become aware of your chakra system, become aware of your own energy stream, be aware of your gatekeepers are there, that, you know, that will make sure that you're okay, like the doorman on the nightclub, that, you know, that it's like your name's not on the list, you're not coming in, because you need that around you. And, you know, if you go out, and I had someone the other day sort of said to me, they went out and they were drinking and how they felt, and I said, because you let your guard down, you know, you allow that sort of the other frequencies that are mellowing around. I mean, it's not just as we see ourselves like this, there's other energy sources around it that we might not see, like our breath of air around us as well. We don't see, but we know it's there, we accept that. So, you know, so it makes sense. Okay?
Yeah.
Good.